not necessarily programmer, just something in games.
Yeah. Well, programming is a whole nother monster.
Yeah.
Whole nother monster. Some of it I just don't. I can't wrap my head around. I'll look at it and be like, "This is gibberish." I'm sorry.
Nah. That was my first response too. But over time, you keep programming, and it still doesn't make a lick of sense. But at least it makes more sense than when you started.
Yeah,
So
at least you know what it's doing at that point.
yeah, I used to know. Oh, okay, that's what it's doing.
Like,
That's
oh,
why it doesn't work. Or
oh, I forgot to add the slash. Oops.
yeah, exactly. That's how it was for me.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was the same way. I just always liked games, and I did video games more than I do sport. So I just wanted to, I guess, spend a large amount of time and money making a love letter to the game industry by making games myself and hopefully not bad ones.
Now, did you two ever think about like other careers? Like, if you weren't like game developers or working in the gaming industry, did that ever at one point cross your minds? That, like, what would you do if you didn't do anything in the development or with video games? Did you have like a particular subject that you liked? Do you like history? Things like that. Was there an other option that you felt was open for you too?
For me personally, if I wasn't a game developer, writing, fiction writer.
Oh,
I
nice.
love entertainment in general and fiction. Um, so if I was a game developer, I'd still be some kind of content creator. I want to, make something. That's just like in my nature to
Hmm.
create stuff. So that's what I'd be. Just I think a writer, most likely.
And I would be an armchair philosopher.
Ah, the armchair, the illustrious armchair philosopher.
Not a lot of money in that, but also means I don't have to put pants on until whatever time I feel like it.
Well, that's true. And if you just want to like hang out and sleep in your chair and wake up when you want, it's wonderful. Now, why do you two make games? Do you have is it is it just the personal passion? Do you feel it's part of like a personal expression, like an artistic expression? Do you do it because you want to like impact the way people see certain subjects or impact the way they think or affect their lives in a certain way?
It's definitely a passion. I can't see putting it down. It started as like a hobby or something, but it's constantly challenging, especially when you want to do something that you don't know is within your or your programmer's abilities. So you sort of have to figure out a way to make it happen, and then maybe figure out that it wasn't a good idea to begin with, but you got over it. So it's just something I feel like I would do no matter what. I love doing it, and it's it's like a constant reward.
Yeah, for me too. It's just a passion. I just really like doing it. It's fun. When it's not, when it's not aggravating.
When it's well, yeah. I mean, I can only imagine how much aggravating stuff you have to go through.
But I mean that makes when you get over a challenge so much more fulfilling. Is
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Oh yeah, there's a lot more satisfaction to it. You're like, yes, I
Yeah,
won.
that's what I really love too about it. When you do figure out, you do get over a hurdle, it's just, this huge wave of relief that goes up. Like, oh yes, I did it.
Now this is a question that I was looking forward to. how did the inspiration for the game's concept come about? Because like the area where you're on where you're on like the mag tracks in the mag boots, and you're walking and you're just like walking up walls and things are like it's like being in space. It's wild.
So, that's more of a Joseph question.
But you are Joseph.
Yeah, you're both Joseph.
Joseph Prime.
Okay. That definitely was taken from like a space sort of theme. Or I seen this picture a couple years ago of these really ugly looking prototype like magnet boots, and they were for like walking in space or whatever in zero G. Terrible looking, but I thought that could work. I mean, in a game, we can just do whatever we want anyway, and as long as we say it's in the future, nobody's going to question it.
Right.
The future, but I like the idea of being able to not just be stuck level designing on an area where you have to keep your feet on the ground, but why can't you walk on the walls or the ceiling? You know, with proper context, of course, not just Spider-Manning all over the place, but
Not that that's a bad thing, but
yeah, well, that's how it was initially with the programming. It was sort of hard to make it a something that was toggleable. So instead, it was like, well, you either climb all over the place, or or you don't climb on the walls.
Yeah, I was a bit hurdle initially. You mentioned a match too. Yeah, one of the hurdles that we managed to figure out a way to have overcome, and still needs tweaking. We ended up tweaking, but we got over the initial issue of doing it in the first place.
now did the whole the inspiration as a whole, like being underground and the base having an issue and things like that, where did you get that idea from? Did you see something and have it click? Did you wake up one day? Was it like a dream that came to you? Did you read something or a book or something and say, you know what, that would be a cool situation or just a cool environment to put a game in? Not minus the rescuing the people and it having an issue. Did you just see something and be like, you know what, underground in a facility would be awesome for a game?
I like the idea of like humanity's hubris as far as like where we think we can go without any consequences. Like where Joseph's from, Arizona is a perfect example. Like people just are like in the desert, and it's clear to you when you visit there that people don't belong here. It's hot. There's like tornadoes made of dust. When it rains, you could die. If you get lost, you could die. But that doesn't stop us from setting up bases in Antarctica or spelunking to dangerous depths. And if something goes wrong down there, you are sort of left to your own devices.
That's 100% true.
So that's a large part of where the setting comes from.
Now, what inspires you to outside of gaming? Do you go and like people watch and get ideas from different things that people are doing or how they look or interacting with certain things in the environment? Can you just go out for like a hike or something and like see a vista or a grouping of trees and be like, and get ideas or get some type of inspiration to add something or change something? Reading, artwork,
all those things except for the going out part.
You're pasty white like me?
Well, like people watching and vistas, and most of those come from other games. I played this. The scale of the facility was because I wanted to see something like an impressive vista in a game, an experience I had with a 3DO title way back in the 90s.
3DO was amazing.
It was a game called PO'd, and it wasn't a very good game,
No, it
but
wasn't.
it had these interior spaces that were huge. You could really feel the scale and how small you were. Terrible game again. You could jump off of those high places and not take any damage. And I think there was frying pans that you used for weapons. But at any rate, I like the idea of a grand scale and sort of wanted to be able to do that without it looking like PO'd because they used a lot of just flat textures, colors on walls. Because I figure back then, even though the 3DO was supposed to be like a 64-bit system, it couldn't really do much in the way of myth mapping or
Yeah.
any of that stuff. So
For me, pretty much, yeah, same. Everything except going outside.
Don't
Yep.
like to go outside.
But you can't program the outdoors. You see,
No, you can't.
the more time you spend out there, the less time you're going to spend working on a game or playing it or having meaningful experiences in a game.
That's true.
You can't let life get in the way of that.
Yes, we cannot let real life get in the way of gaming. How dare I think of that? Who do I think I am? Now, how would you say the game is being received so far? Now, I know you just like officially released, the alpha, this playable build yesterday because I was looking at the news articles about it. So, how would you say, since I know it's a little early, but how would you say it's being received so far?
Well, can we just go off of your opinion for now?
Okay.
Because I like that one. No, surprisingly positive.
there's obviously quite a few bugs in there still that we need to get, and there's still passing issues and such. We need to
It
figure
happens.
out. Yeah,
It's alpha. I mean, that's why I say any type, and I play a lot of early games. It's you're gonna have bugs. I mean, they're not game breaking. It is what it is. I mean, but you're getting to play it early and see it, and you know what? It's helping you guys because it's like, oh well, I ran into this situation
yes.
type thing.
Exactly.
So
That's the great thing about it too, that we are getting feedback on it. And yeah, we haven't gotten enough feedback to like really make if it's positive or negative, but we have been getting a lot of people saying, well, not a lot. The people we have comment on it have kind of told us, that they love the concept of the idea, they think it's great, and that's encouraging. That that there's still an audience for this type of game. Really.
I mean, it's been a while since a game like this has come out because it does have that like mist-riven time lapse, that sort of feel to it, and it's been a long time since a good one's been out like that. People have tried, but a good one versus one that's kind of like
Yeah. So that's pretty much the feedback we've gotten so far, and we're just hoping on more feedback. That's all feedback is good, good or bad. It helps us improve the game. It's good to get early, you were saying, so we can, it's good to get now instead of make a beta and then release it. The games that are trash. So it's great getting it now and stuff. So I'm personally happy with the feedback we've gotten.
So how long have you been working on this particular game?
That's
This particular version of the game, about a year and a half, or almost
Okay.
2 years, I think.
yeah, almost 2 years soonish.
We started toying around with this game initially in 2010 or around there, and it was just sort of
What Joseph started toying around with it.
right. It was my concept originally, but I suckered some other developers into it to basically fix many of the issues, or just flesh it out more. What I had was like stuff built out of Epic assets or assets that I made, which I'm glad are not in the game now. And it was a lot smaller, and was just, it was basically just a college experiment. And a couple of years ago, or a year and a half, I guess, we started working more seriously on trying to turn it into a title instead of just sort of this mini game of, this is an area, you'll die if you don't do these things, so try to do these things.
Gotcha. Now, how many people at this point are involved in making the game?
Four people.
4 people, yep.
There's Allison Summers, our lead 3D artist, and then John Waynick, who's involved with all sorts of other projects. He's our senior 3D artist, and then we have Joseph Marin doing all the programming stuff that he doesn't necessarily like to do, but he's really good at it. And then me, just telling everybody what to do, I guess.
It's like, you do this, I'll give you candy.
I do level design and like Kismet scripting.
He's kind of being modest about it. The whole game is really his vision. He does essentially everything. He dips his hands in every little aspect corner. If it doesn't look right, he'll fix it himself. Basically, so he's the biggest worker of all of us. This is his.
I say I'll fix it myself, but that's just a way to get the modelers to do things quicker, because I'll threaten to make the model myself, or I'll just make it out of a bunch of models they've already made. And then when they see that horror in person, they decide it's time to go ahead and make that asset that's on the list.
You see that horror. That's terrible. I'm sure it's not that bad.
Oh, there's been some doors made out of plants or
God.
other things that if I think it looks, the shape, I'll just stick it in there and group it all together.
Yeah. It is encouraging for everyone else.
Yeah, it's like, if you don't know how to make, just stick stuff in there. It'll be fine. So what has gone right so far during development? Like some of the high points, did you implement something or program something and you weren't sure if it was going to work and you pop it and it works perfectly? Or, did the artwork, you just look at something, you try it out and it worked great? What has gone right so far?
I'd say about 90% of everything. The art itself, we had the art. It was hard explaining the art to people.
To the artist.
Oh yeah.
I wanted something bright and saturated and colorful in the dark.
Okay, I get that, which it is. You do have some very bright standout colors in the dark.
In the dark, yeah.
In the dark.
So they're trying to model things for the dark, and trying to get out of the sort of grayscale, or they wanted to make the models look good, so they were going like photorealistic as close as they could, but that was kind of messing up my idea for the saturation and sort of making it, I don't know, not like Mario colors, but definitely something more vibrant. So I guess when you hit it with a flashlight, it looks better.
Yeah, I was going to say, when I popped on the flashlight the first time, I was like, wow, okay, there's like bright purples and blues and everything. It's a really cool concept. Everything else is black, except what's in that flashlight. It's beautiful.
Yeah, or what they all joke about is just like when a model gets turned in, Joseph will say it just needs more purple, or just make it more purple and orange, and it'll be fine.
You can never have enough purple.
Yeah. But and then as far as programming goes, what's gone right is the magnet boots, for one thing. that whole thing was a pain to program, and just a huge
I
hassle
I
to
can
get
only
working.
imagine what that. And I actually said something to Grimbone because he was watching me play it yesterday. And I noticed with the magnet boots, it's like you literally can walk over everything in them. Like even the smallest like lip, it's like it flips you around, you attach it, and it like it. I was like, man, I was like, this must have taken forever to do because I can only imagine the issues you run into having a character or like a character model be able to walk on all the surfaces of something rather than just having like the item in there and non-interactive and you can't walk on it or anything. You can literally walk on everything everywhere. I was like, oh my god.
All right. Yeah, that was it was a huge pain, especially in UDK, which is the engine we're using.
Mm-hmm.
It was starting UDK, so we're gonna finish it in UDK. But starting in UDK didn't bring up hassles because UDK was never meant to do this. It
UDK,
was
I do have to say UDK does have great lighting effects.
yeah, yes it does.
They really do have great lighting, but yeah, I mean, I was very impressed with that. I was just like, wow, okay. Somebody put time into that cuz it was just crazy.
Yeah, when it worked the first time, it was amazing just because the axis that the character is normally constrained to as far as where they look and that sort of stuff. Once you go upside down or completely vertical, it was amazing. It's disorienting as hell
It
and really
is.
really hard to figure out where a player's going to look to try to hit switches because your POV gets really messed up as far as where the center of your your look would be, I guess, when you're craning your character's head around while you're standing vertically, sideways up against a huge facility trying to press little buttons. All things that are being addressed.
I mean, it's still like I said, I was extremely impressed. I was just like, wow, this is crazy. And I of course had to walk all over everything cuz I'm like that. So I had to touch everything, walk over everything. I was all over the place in those boots. It was crazy, but again, I was really impressed with that. That was like that takes some serious programming.
Yeah, I don't know what it took exactly. I helped test when he would get things done, but I think he was just typing in like / magnet and then make that UDK code. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah,
I
totally.
think that's
That's
how
how
it
it
works.
works.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yep. I just need to type /work.
Oh,
Yeah, see,
now,
work.
now you're telling everybody how to
Forward
program.
slash
Oh,
work.
/ magnet / work.
yep. See,
Forward
that's
slash
all.
magic.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's amazing.
It definitely is.
That's that was the one of the biggest things though. And some other things like just grabbing physics objects and making sure trying to prevent them at least from falling out of the entire world.
We're getting
Oh,
stuck in walls or
Yeah,
although that
that's
helps.
really yeah.
the toolbox that's still left in there. It's a bit hard to pick up initially. I thought I made it to where you can't even pick it up, but it at one time was a dynamic physics object that you could open the top of it. You could stick a spare oxygen canister in there or a crowbar, and then close it and carry it with you. Like the most basic inventory system, you put stuff in there and close it and carry it, and that's your inventory, whatever you
That
have in
is
that box.
that is awesome.
But it came to life, sort of, and once you tried to pick it up after it was opened or closed, it would sort of cartwheel around or start to climb walls, almost like it had AI, but it was just really strange physics things that were happening.
that is a real cool concept.
Yeah.
Carry a bag around.
Yeah, it still going to take a lot of work to get that. I mean, they just don't want to play nice. Once you stick some items in there and close it, it's like the two want to bounce off of each other, or like make one climb the walls.
Yeah, and then the only other thing that was really hard was I believe the lift, the forklift. It's not in the demo, right?
Right. No, it's not.
No, it was a bad demo. You do get to ride a forklift at one point.
Okay.
And that was actually pretty much that was a huge pain to have get working too, because it became sentient.
Ah.
And it would try to chase you down and kill you. And I'm not joking about that.
It was like attracted to the player instead. The player is supposed to sort of attach to it, and then your view now is attached to the back end of this sort of half a forklift as you move forward and pick things up with it, and instead it would just sort of come towards you like Christine or some sort of. I mean, it seemed like it wanted to get to the player real bad, which was a bit jarring.
And then it wanted to impale you on the lift pieces.
Yes.
No, but it wouldn't do that, but it would push you off of high up areas.
Oh yeah, it did. And it would actually push you off. It was kind of disturbing at times. Like it was trying to kill you.
And it doesn't have any AI.
Oh Jesus.
Just more weird physics. I'm still not entirely convinced it's not just one programmer's big elaborate. It's like the long game for a joke, and 10 years from now he'll be like, "Oh yeah, that was
the forklift."
Yeah, that was just to scare you guys.
How many times did you die to it? Trying to keep count.
Trying to test it, and it's shoving me off of things. That makes it difficult. It's a meta game.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So what's gone wrong during development?
Half the stuff we said.
All right.
Just as much as went right. Lots of sort of scrapping everything and starting again, or working real hard to get a mechanic to work, being able to put in special commands from a USB drive, so you have to find the drive and then put it in one of the consoles. And once we got it sort of up and running, in a very rough sense, it just kind of had to be scrapped at that point. It was really going to mess up the way that all the sequences come together. And so spending large amounts of time on something that you end up not using is sort of crushing, just because it's a lot of wasted time.
Yeah. And obviously some aspects of the programming part, there's still it still needs to be fixed. So there was some simplification in that too. That just had to be scrapped just because it was difficult enough to kind of program basically a program into a program.
Gotcha.
So there were issues with that too. Still issues that we need to tweak and figure out. Yeah, as much as went right, it's gone wrong. But a lot of that we did manage to just kind of work around it, find some way to get over it. It does, yeah, like Joseph said, it is crushing though when we do have to cut something just because it won't work in the end.
But I mean, all of that aside, going wrong and going right, I mean, it's to a point now where we get that satisfaction of having an achievement or a trophy or whatever for overcoming what we have, and still having a functional model that's very close to the initial concept.
Yeah.
Now, have either of you worked on any other games previously, or this is been the main one, or your first one, or the one that you're really working on first?